So here's a video I never thought I'd be making. I'm probably a little late to the party because Sony announced this like 6 days ago. Look, I'm sure everybody already knows that Sony recently announced that the PlayStation 6 would be dropping without physical disc support. And it's not exactly a hot take for me to say that that is an abhorrently evil thing for them to do. I mean, it's, almost surreal if I'm being honest, because going back, 10, 11 years to the launch of the PS4 and the Xbox One, do you remember when it was Microsoft that was trying to do this kind of thing with the whole DRM protection where you couldn't share your games with people because they were so greedy at the time that they wanted everyone to have to buy their own physical copies of games individually rather than people being allowed to just share them around and, whatever, because how dare the paws own their products and do what they want with the products that they own, And I'm sure you also remember back then that Sony won the console wars by just saying, look, here's how you share a PlayStation game. And they just gave it to someone, And that won an entire generation, and that's something that Xbox still hasn't bounced back from to this day, Nintendo's off doing its own kind of thing. Then they're never really part of the console wars. But Xbox and Sony, before then, it was like a death match. They were at each other's throats. It was a tight competition. I was personally an Xbox 360 kid. I had PS1 and PS2 before, but Xbox 360 won me over, mainly because of Halo, but also just because of the vast array of games on that system and how simple it was. Whereas PlayStation at the time was really expensive, and I just didn't really like the hardware. I do regret it, in a way, not having a PS3, because I couldn't play Metal Gear Solid 4, but whatever. I'll finally get to play it for the first time in a couple of months, and I'll get to feel that Metal Gear That's not the point of this video. We're not talking about the joys of Sony. Okay, we're here to scream about Sony. Oh, I'm so angry, man. It's just been gnawing at me. But in relation to my last point about how Xbox lost the console wars, I just want to point out that even back then, with all of Xbox's greed and their anti-consumer stance and the always online thing and the DRM protection thing, they still had physical discs. They still printed the games on the discs. That was still the plan back then. If I'm wrong about that, then you can call me out about it, but even then, they weren't about to destroy physical media. It was going to be like abhorrently restrictive, but it was still preserved in a physical medium. You could still get that data on a physical object. Flash forward to today, however, and Sony is just quite literally saying, no, you're not going to own anything. Come to our storefront where we have an entire 100% complete monopoly on all digital media purchases and enjoy it. Own nothing, be happy, fuck you, give me money. Oh, and by the way, you've still got to pay for online, you've still got to pay like £2 gajillion a year for PS Plus if you want your free games, and we're also not going to do anything like backwards compatibility. We're not going to respect our old libraries. We're not going to enhance the infrastructure or anything of the system. It's going to be the bare minimum. And it's going to cost £1,000 because there's a RAM crisis at the minute. And the majority of people aren't even going to be able to own this system anyway. So all of the new games going forward, most people aren't going to be able to play, let alone own, because no one can own anything on that system. And this goes for GTA 6 as well. I was originally really excited for GTA 6, but I don't think I'm going to buy it now. I genuinely am so passionate about this physical media issue that I am willing to forego the most important, biggest, hyped up gaming event in the last century if it means I can't own a disc, Maybe Rockstar will turn around and be like, yeah, don't worry, 2, 3, 4 months after the game came out, here's your disc, whatever. But I don't see that happening because Rockstar and Sony are just too pig-headed. They are not going to backtrack on this. Their shareholders are too happy about the fact that discs don't exist. And, Sony's stocks went up after the announcement. The only reason Rockstar's stocks went down is because GTA 6 wasn't being sold for more money. Let that sink in, right? They are not going to backtrack this. That doesn't mean you can't protest, though. And you should protest. Like I said, I personally am not going to buy GTA 6. I know that my one purchase isn't going to make a dent in the sales of that game. But just for my own peace of mind, I've just got to do whatever I can to boycott that decision and that game. And if that means I go without the latest GTA, fine. I'm getting too old now. My life is not going to change just because I can't play GTA, you know? I've been boycotting Ubisoft for years. I abandoned my favourite gaming franchise in Assassin's Creed because of how much I hated Ubisoft, and I've never looked back, and I don't miss that. I can do the same thing with GTA. I don't care how much I love Red Dead 2, GTA 5, Vice City, LA Noire. Screw them. They don't need my money. You can all buy it if you really don't care. I'm not, right? But another way you can protest is just cancel your PS Plus. Do you really need it? Do you really need all those free games in your backlog that you're never going to play, that you don't own, that they're going to take away from you the second your subscription runs out anyway? Do you really need to be playing online when I know for a fact majority of people on PlayStation and consoles are probably playing single player experiences anyway? And I'm pretty sure on PS Plus you can use the party chat feature without it, so it's not like you can't talk to your friends or message them or whatever. Just cancel it. You are not losing anything of value, but what you are doing is sending a financial message to Sony, and you are affecting their bottom line. If like 10% of people cancel PS Plus, that's a lot of money, you know, and that's the best way to send that message. So just, you know, right now, just cancel your PS Plus. I know no one's going to watch this video. I know I'm just a stupid little dude with 400 and something subscribers that hasn't really got a voice on the internet, but I'm just trying to do all I can to just protest this, and I don't know what else to do other than make this goofy little video, you know. But I just wanted to round this up by discussing some of the bad faith arguments I've seen. A lot of people using this excuse of like, digital media sells way more, it sells 85% versus, you know, physical media. Which is a lie, by the way. That number is heavily skewed. That number of 85% digital purchases accounts for people adding PS Plus games to their library. It accounts for a large number of digital indie games and other digital games that don't have physical releases. And it only really accounts for things bought off of PlayStation's storefront and brand new games. It completely ignores the second-hand market, which is a big portion of physical media sales, and it also completely ignores the number of people that play physical media via friends and family, so they might borrow a game off of a neighbor or their family members or whatever, you know what I mean? So it's a skewed number that is not truly representative of the actual story. They are lying to you to try and blame the consumer for the death of physical ownership, and that is scummy behaviour, it is evil behaviour, it deserves to be called out, and I'm tired of seeing all these shills that keep defending it, because all you're doing is actively bringing on this cyberpunk dystopia that's just going to lead to us getting railroaded time and time again, because this industry is so corrupt and so evil, and I'm sick and tired of supporting it, you know. The easiest way to compare physical and digital sales is to look exclusively at the first-party AAA titles that have a physical release and compare the split between them there, rather than compare the whole wide ecosystem of the PlayStation Store or the Xbox Store or the Nintendo Store. And, you know, we have the Insomniac leaks that give us that information, and there was also, is it Pio on Twitter that listed a lot of other games and compared their digital versus physical sales, and out of all of them on that list, the majority were more popular in physical formats. So I think that tells you everything, because the majority of people only buy consoles for the physical component, because why else would you own a console? If you didn't want the physical, just buy a goddamn PC, you know, like, what are you doing? Like, it's like me buying a Blu-ray player and then Sony coming out and going, we're getting rid of disk drives from your Blu-ray players. Your Blu-ray player can only activate Amazon Prime from now on. It's like, well, what's the point of having a Blu-ray player? Do you know what I mean? But coming back to PC, I see a lot of shills saying like, but PC's been digital for ages and no one complains about it there. And you know what? Fair enough, PC is all digital. But the only person that would say that and think that it's the same as how PlayStation handles its digital media is someone that's never used a PC, you know, like they don't understand the ecosystem of that market. So I don't trust a single word they say about it, and neither should you. PC is different in the fact that it has multiple digital storefronts that you can choose from with competitive pricing. It also has the key sale market. You also have places like GOG that are DRM free, where you own every single file of your game as soon as you buy it. You know, there is a lot more access to everything on PC that you buy. And yeah, you could argue that Steam might one day go bang and explode, but that doesn't mean that those games aren't still on PC in another storefront. You know, the preservation is still kind of there, and it's so much easier to archive your games on PC because you have access to all those files. So you can, I don't know, you can probably just write them to a disk if you want to buy a disk drive. You know, you could buy your own disk drive and dump all your actual physical media onto your PC and emulate it via an emulator. You know, there's so many more ways to preserve games on PC, and just because they're digital, it doesn't mean that there's this monopoly that you can't control. PC gaming is more competitive and whatever. You know what, I'm done. I'm just going to end up rambling more and more and more. I'm just angry. Well, I'm just going to end this video by saying boycott Sony, cancel your PS Plus subscription if you haven't already, don't buy GTA 6 digitally, and force them to get you a disc. And you know what? Also cancel like your Game Pass, your Xbox Live, whatever. Anything that actively hurts the physical media market. If you want it to survive, stop supporting the tools that are killing it. Stop supporting the tools that they're lying about and using to go after your right to ownership of property. Also, message your government officials, sign petitions, whatever. Get this into law that you own your digital property, so that if this is forced on you, there's at least protection on your purchases. Right, that's something you've got to do. Support Stop Killing Games. Support all of these people that are trying to get game preservation and games represented as art and all of that. Just go out and do it. Right, that's my message to you. Thank you so much for listening to this angry rant. If you liked it, like, subscribe maybe, hit that bell notification to catch updates on any actual proper videos I make that have effort put into them. I do a lot of cool reviews, some about games, some about films. They're fun. You should go check them out after this, because this does not represent me apart from the radicalized, angry, hate-filled side of my heart. Okay, goodbye. Thank you so much. See you later. Peace.